Have you ever picked up your smartphone, stared at the screen, and noticed something strangely familiar? The display isn't a perfect rectangle. The corners are rounded, every single one, which is a little odd when you think about it. Your television has square corners. Your computer monitor has square corners. Even the spreadsheet you've been avoiding all week has perfectly square corners. So why doesn't your phone? Did designers simply decide curved corners looked cooler? Is it another trend that everyone copied? Or did someone accidentally sand off the corners of the first smartphone, and the rest of the industry politely pretended it was intentional? As funny as those ideas are, the surprising part isn't that phone screens have rounded corners. It's that changing just 4 tiny edges solved a much bigger problem. And the question is, what problem? Welcome to Past in Plain Sight. Today, we're uncovering the fascinating reason phone screens have rounded corners. We first have to go back to the earliest smartphones to understand the rounded corners. Take a look at phones from the late 2000s. Their displays were almost perfectly rectangular, sharp corners and straight edges. At the time, it made perfect sense. Screens were easier to manufacture that way, and nobody was complaining. Then something changed. Phones started getting bigger. Bezels, the black borders around the screen, became thinner and thinner. Manufacturers wanted displays that stretched almost from edge to edge. But engineers quickly ran into a problem. The phone itself still had rounded corners. After all, nobody enjoys carrying a device that feels like a tiny brick in their pocket. Imagine putting 4 sharp metal corners against your leg every time you sat down. Your genes would file a formal complaint. Since the outer body was rounded, designers realized something. If the display also followed the shape of the phone, the entire device looked more natural. Instead of a rectangular screen awkwardly squeezed into a curved body, everything flowed together as one seamless design. But here's where things become even more interesting. Rounded corners aren't just about appearance. They're also stronger. Engineers have known for centuries that sharp corners concentrate stress. Imagine tearing a sheet of paper. If you cut a tiny notch into the edge first, the tear almost always starts there. Those corners become weak points. Rounded shapes spread stress much more evenly. It's the same reason airplane windows have rounded corners instead of square ones. Nature, physics, and engineers all tend to agree on one thing. Sharp corners are troublemakers. There's another clever advantage. Glass is surprisingly strong until you give it a sharp edge. The more abrupt the corner, the easier it becomes for tiny cracks to begin spreading after an impact. Rounded edges reduce those stress concentrations. Now, don't get too excited. This doesn't mean your phone suddenly becomes indestructible. Gravity still has an excellent winning record, especially against bathroom tiles. Modern smartphones also use incredibly sophisticated display technology. The actual screen underneath extends farther than what you can see. Software simply masks the corners so they appear beautifully rounded. It's rather like putting a picture inside a fancy frame. The image may be rectangular, but the frame decides what you actually see. Now you might be wondering, if it's mostly software, why bother? Because your brain loves smooth shapes. Psychologists have found that people generally perceive rounded objects as friendlier and more approachable than sharp ones. Think about it. A teddy bear has rounded features. A puppy has rounded features. A cactus not so much. Rounded designs tend to feel safer and more comfortable. Phone designers know this. Every tiny detail influences how we feel about using a device. So when you unlock your phone, take a closer look at those smooth little corners. They aren't just there to make your device look modern. They're quietly improving durability, making the display feel more natural, matching the shape of the phone itself, and helping create one of the cleanest designs in consumer technology. Not bad for 4 tiny curves most people never even think about. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to Past in Plain Sight, and join us next time as we reveal another fascinating piece of history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.